Good landscaping usually isn't about rare plants or expensive projects. It's about noticing the things most homeowners walk past every day. Number 1. And here's the thing most folks miss. Before you buy a single plant, the shape of your garden bed is already telling a story. A bed's outline is the very first thing people notice from the street, long before they spot a bloom. Instead of fussing over plant varieties, stand back and look at your beds from the sidewalk or driveway. Are the lines clean and intentional, or do they wander off in odd directions? Simple shapes, like a rounded corner rectangle, a gentle teardrop, or a broad sweep, almost always fit better than a bunch of jagged angles. Leave about 18 to 24 inches between the bed and your foundation if you plan to plant there, and save those sharp 90-degree corners for homes with a formal style. The real secret is this: grab a hose or some string and redraw your bed edges before you think about what to plant. A well-shaped bed makes everything else easier. In second place, here is a trick that instantly makes any yard feel more pulled together: repetition. Most folks walk into a garden center and pick one of everything that catches their eye, but that is how a yard ends up looking like a plant sale, not a garden. When you repeat just a handful of plant types, say 2 or 3 favorites, and group them in odd numbers like 3s or 5s, the whole scene starts to feel intentional. Repetition is not about being boring, it is about creating a rhythm the eye can follow. Even if you are only using lavender and boxwood, echoing those same shapes and colors from the walkway to the porch ties everything together. The real secret? A limited, repeated palette always looks more expensive than a scattershot collection. If you want your yard to read as designed, pick your plants and repeat them with purpose. Takeaway: repeat a few plants to create rhythm and unity. Number 3. Here's a detail that quietly makes or breaks a yard: scale. You can have every plant thriving, but if the sizes don't fit the house, something just feels off. Oversized shrubs can swallow up a porch, while tiny ones leave the place looking bare and unfinished. The trick is to use the house itself as your ruler. Look at your windows, your eaves, even the roof line. These are your measuring sticks. Small shrubs usually look best when they fill about 1/3 of the space below a window, while the tallest plants should stay under 2/3 the height of the house. This isn't about strict formulas, but about finding proportions that feel right from the street. Before you plant, stand back and picture how each choice will look in full size, not just as a nursery pot. Takeaway: match plant heights to your home's features, and your yard will always feel balanced and welcoming. Number 4, and here's a detail that quietly separates a garden that wows from one that just gets by: structure matters more than flowers. Flowers might steal the show for a few weeks, but it's the bones underneath, the evergreens, the grasses, the small trees, the paths that keep a yard looking good all year. Picture your garden in February, when the blooms are long gone. If it still looks interesting, that's structure at work. Aim for nearly half of what you see to be made up of things that don't disappear with the seasons: boxwood, ornamental grasses, maybe a dwarf conifer or 2, and some crisp edging or a winding path. Once that backbone is in place, you can sprinkle in as much seasonal color as you want, knowing the garden won't fall flat when summer ends. Takeaway: build your garden's structure first, then add the flowers for finishing touches. Number 5, and here's a detail that quietly shapes how every front yard feels. Your front door needs to be the star of the show. When you pull up to a house, your eye should know exactly where to land. If the path to the entry gets lost in a sea of plants, sculptures, or mismatched flower pots, the whole yard feels scattered instead of welcoming. Try this curb-to-door test. Stand at the street or driveway and glance toward your house. Can you trace the route to the door in one easy look? Or do your eyes bounce around from one distraction to the next? The best landscapes use straight or gently curving paths flanked by plants or low hedges to lead visitors right where you want them. Sometimes it's as simple as trimming back a bush that blocks the view or swapping out a jumble of pots for one bold planter by the steps. The real trick is to make the front door the clear destination. Let everything else play a supporting role. Takeaway. Arrange your beds and walkways so the eye travels straight to your entry, not wandering off along the way. Number 6. And here's a detail that trips up even the most eager plant shoppers. The plant tag matters more than the plant's size in the pot. It is easy to fall for a cute little shrub or a leafy perennial at the nursery, but what you see today is just the starting point. The real story is printed on that tag: mature height and spread. That is what tells you where it actually belongs and how close it can sit to its neighbors. If a shrub will grow 6 feet wide, you want to plant it 3 to 4.5 feet from the next one, center to center, not just tuck them side by side for instant fullness. Ignore this, and you will end up with a jungle pressed against your windows or crowding the walkway in a few short years. The best trick is to buy for the size the plant will be, not the size it is right now. Takeaway: always check the mature size and space plants for the future, not just for today. Number 7. And here's a tiny detail that makes a bigger difference than most folks realize: clean edges. You don't have to buy anything fancy or spend a weekend digging up the whole yard. Just grab a flat spade or edging tool and cut a simple vertical line between your lawn and your garden beds, about 2 to 4 inches deep. That crisp border does more than look tidy. It signals that someone cares about the place. Suddenly, the beds pop. The lawn feels intentional, and even a patchy old turf looks sharper. If you want something more permanent, a narrow metal or stone edge, just 2 to 4 inches high, keeps mulch and grass where they belong without drawing too much attention. The trick isn't to build a bulky border, but to create a clear, neat line that separates spaces. Takeaway: edge your beds and the whole yard instantly reads as cared for. Number 8, and here is a truth that surprises a lot of folks. A garden can look messy because it has too much going on, not too little. Negative space is not wasted space. It is what lets your best plants shine. When every inch is packed, the eye does not know where to rest, and the whole yard starts to feel busy and cramped. Purposeful open areas, whether that is a stretch of lawn, a patch of mulch, or even a simple gravel path, give your garden breathing room. Designers often aim for about 20 to 40% empty space in a busy bed, though that number can shift depending on your climate and the style of your house. Those open patches are not just blank. They help your focal plants stand out and make a small yard feel calm instead of chaotic. Takeaway: leave some breathing room so your favorite plants can really be noticed. Number 9, and here's a secret that trips up even the neatest gardeners. Sometimes it's not the plants making your yard look messy, it's the everyday stuff sitting out in plain sight. A beautiful bed or a tidy lawn can lose its charm fast if hoses, garbage bins, empty pots, or utility boxes keep popping into view. These bits and pieces are easy to overlook because they're useful, but from the street, they're what the eye lands on first. If something isn't meant to be part of the landscape, it deserves a home out of sight or behind a screen. Even a simple 3 or 4 foot barrier, like a lattice, a row of shrubs, or a short fence, can hide the clutter without blocking access. Just tidying up or tucking away those odds and ends can make the whole yard feel finished in an afternoon. Takeaway: Store, screen, or simplify utility clutter for an instant boost in curb appeal. Number 10. And here's a truth every gardener learns sooner or later. A yard only looks as good as the time you're willing to spend on it. It's easy to dream up magazine-worthy borders or lush lawns, but if the upkeep doesn't fit your real life, even the prettiest plan won't last. Start by being honest about how much time you'll actually spend outside each week. If you want to keep it simple, aim for about 15 minutes a week. Think a quick sweep, maybe a little deadheading. A medium routine runs closer to an hour, enough for regular weeding and a bit of pruning. High-maintenance yards can easily soak up 3 hours or more, and that's before summer heat or travel gets in the way. The real secret is to match everything, the layout, the plants, even the irrigation system, to the level of care you know you'll provide. Drip irrigation and tough evergreens are a safer bet if you want low fuss. Takeaway: design for the maintenance you'll actually do, not the routine you hope to keep. Across all 10 of these landscaping lessons, one thing stands out. Thoughtful design makes the biggest difference, not fancy plants or big spending. The real secret is paying attention to what's already there and letting simplicity do the heavy lifting. A welcoming yard is always built on purpose, not price.